What percentage of this rectangle is shaded grey? So I need to work out the proportion that's grey. So firstly, how many squares have I got altogether? Well, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. So I've got 8 times by 5, I've got 40 in total. So the ones which are shaded in here are 5, 12. So I've got 12 out of 40. Now, if I'm going to make that into a percentage, I need to try to get it out of 10, out of 100, or out of 1,000. I think probably the easiest way to get it out of 10, 100, or 1,000 in this case is just to divide both top and bottom by 4. So if I divide top and bottom both by 4, that's going to give me 3 out of 10, which we know is 30 out of 100, which is 30%. Shaded with diagonal lines, okay, so I'm going to do the working out for this over here, just so that, just because it will take a little bit more space up. So shaded with diagonal lines, I've got 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 out of 40. Now, you can't divide that one by 4 easily, or you can, I suppose, and you get 1.5 out of 10. So that's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is just to see that it's exactly half of what this one was. That's 12 out of 40, this is 6 out of 40, so it's going to be half of 30%, 15%. If you wanted to make it out of 10, you could just divide by 4, and that would give me 1.5, and then times that by 10. But remember, percentage means out of 100. So if I'm timesing that by 10, I got 15 out of 100, or 15%. But I think probably easiest to spot that it's just half as much as that one, because that's 12 out of 40, this is 6 out of 40. Not shaded is going to be everything that's left. So not shaded is going to be 100% take away the ones which I've found so far. So that's 30% and 15%. So that's going to be 100% take away 45%, which is 55%. Okay, question 2. Convert these decimals to fractions in their simplest form. So what I need to do is see which column is the lowest value. Tenths, hundredths column, thousandths column. So I'm going to write this out as thousandths. I've got 24 thousandths. And then I'm just going to simplify that as much as possible. So if I divide both by 2, I've got 12 500ths. I can keep going, divide that by 2 again, I've got 6 out of 250, keep going, can divide that by 2 again, 3 out of 125, and now I realize there's not a common factor between 3 and 125, so I have to stop. Same deal with B, tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10 thousandths column. So I've got 824 10 thousandths. In this case, I'm just going to do halving as well, as far as I can go with halving. So I've got 421 out of 5,000. 412 out of 5,000. So that's going to give me 206 out of 2,500. So it's going to give me 103 out of 1,250. And I believe that's as far as you can go. There's no common factors. Right. Fractions to decimals. Decimals are, the clue is in that word des. Des is similar to the French word dix, is to do with 10. Decimals, we need to have powers of 10 on the bottom to work it out. So I want either 10 on the bottom, tenths, 100 on the bottom, hundredths, 1,000 on the bottom, etc. So in this case, I'm going to go straight for 100 on the bottom. So times that by 4 gives me 16 out of 100, which as a decimal is 0.16. Now with 40, it's not so straightforward. I can't go easily to 100 or to 10 with 7 out of 40. But what I can do is I can get myself to 1,000. And I'll do that in 2 steps in this case. So I'm going to times by 5. And that's going to give me 200 on the bottom and 35 on the top. And then I'm going to times all that by 5 again. That's going to then give me 1,000 on the bottom. And on the top, so I'm timesing the 200 by 5, I've got to times the 35 by 5. 35 by 5 is 70, 140, 175 thousandths, which is then going to give me 0.175. For this one, I'm going to go straight to 1,000 because what you guys should know is that 125 times 8 is 1,000. In China, they call those numbers best friends, 125 and 8. They're best friends along with 25 and 4, 20 and 5. They are what's known as best friends as far as I'm aware in Chinese teaching in Shanghai. So I'm going to times by 8. That's going to give me 32 thousandths, which gives me 0.032. Write these fractions as percentages. I just need them out of 100. That's what percentage means. Per out of 100 in French. Right, so that's times by 5. Top's times by 5. 15 out of 100, 15%. I can make this one out of 100, just times by 20. Times the top by 20. 60 out of 100, 60%. Right, question 5. Percentages as fractions in their simplest form. 2% as a fraction in its simplest form. 2% is 2 out of 100. That's the same as 1 out of 50. That's in its simplest form. 36% is 36 out of 100, which is the same as 18 out of 50, which is the same as 9 out of 25. That's it in its simplest form. Okay, 70% of 65. So I'm going to just do 10% of 65 is £6.50, and I'm going to times that by 7. So £6.50 times by 7, £6.50, so 6 times 7, 42. So, and then £0.50 times by 7 is £3.50, so £45.50. 35% of 40 kilograms, so I'm going to go for 10% of 40 is 4. So 30% is going to be 12, and then another 5%, so another, if 10% is 4, then 5% is 2, so I'm going to add 2 on, so plus the 5%, which is 2, gives me 35%. Is 14 kilograms. 85% of 90. What I'll probably do is find out 15% and take it away. So 10% of 90 is 9. 5% of 90 is £4.50. So altogether that's £13.50. Take that off the 90. 90 take away £13.50 is £76.50. Question 7. People taking part in the survey were asked to taste 3 drinks and choose their favourite. Of these people, 28% chose drink A and 49% chose drink B. What percentage of the people chose drink C? This one's straightforward. If you got 49% and 28%, let's add those together. That's going to come to 77%. So what's left over, 100%, take away 77%, is 23%. And last one, 0.8, take away 0.002, giving your answer as a decimal and as a fraction. So firstly as a decimal, we've got 0.799 0.798. And then as a fraction in simplest form, I've got 798 thousandths. let's half that. So that's going to give me 399 out of 500. I'm just trying to see if there's a common factor. I don't believe there is. So I'm going to leave that there.